I was a little bit curious as to how this Dallas and Atlanta game is going to shake out because like there's so many different avenues that this game could go in terms of like fantasy production. And I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I'm like, oh man, is Zeke going to be the guy? Is Zeke going to get pulled in the fourth? Is Tony Pollard going to see, more touches this week? Is it going to go to, the injured duo over there with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper? Is Dalton Schultz going to get the touchdowns? It's all over the place, man.
Nah, Atlanta's played well enough to like keep games in. It's just like really weird because Matt Ryan's actually been one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league, and CPAT and Pitt should have tons of room because they're just going to be hyper focused. It's going to be fine. I'm DFS smashed that game.
Yeah, I'm saying I think it's going to be high scoring. I just don't know what avenues to attack in DFS because you don't want one touchdown and 60 yards from each guy in DFS. So
no, anyways, like I played Gallup. I think Gallup's going to be fantastic today. The other two guys banged up.
Yep, I think he's going to have some fantasy relevance, especially with the big plays given up by the Atlanta defense. What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into Fantasy Intervention. We have another episode coming at you. It is the Start or Sit Show. I am joined by my co-host, Thomas. What's going on, Thomas? How you doing, man?
Just vibing. I'm sitting here trying to go back and remember what the hot sauce bet was last week, but I can't remember. We'll have to make another one this week and kick it off fresh.
Yeah. I'm down for that. I definitely did not write it down. I think I won, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh, of course.
Anyways, we are also joined by the injury expert at the real Adam_H. What's going on, Adam? How you doing tonight or today?
Hey, what's up? What's up, boys? Happy to be back here. I don't know what the hot sauce bet is, but I definitely do not want in that. I don't like the sound of that one bit. Don't know what it is.
I think it was McNichols over.
I just don't like hot sauce. So whatever it is, I'm dodging that one. I'm a weenie when it comes to hot sauce.
I hear that, man.
We're gonna do a DeBomb bet.
A DeBomb hot sauce bet. It's absolutely brutal. But yeah, we
half schools or something.
We have another episode coming at y'all. So get your questions in the chat if you guys have any starter sit questions. And before we get started on that, Adam actually has us prepped up, ready to rock and roll on the injury report today. Adam, what are we here to expect today? I mean, there are injury after injury after injury. It feels like the whole entire slate's just screwed when it comes to having a healthy slate.
Yeah. I got a long list here. I'll try to run through some of the non-important ones or ones that are pretty straightforward and spend a little more time on a couple of guys that I think could be interesting. So I'll just start off right off the top with the big news that we heard yesterday. Robert Woods, if anyone's been living under a rock, they probably haven't heard he tore his ACL for the Rams. So he's going to be out for the rest of the season. Obviously convenient that they signed Odell Beckham Jr. And you got Van Jefferson there. So those are some guys I'm sure we'll get some start and sit questions about today. Kyler Murray, quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals, leaning towards him being out. I went back and forth with this one. Originally, I thought he kind of had a minor ankle sprain, but when I was watching the broadcast last week, it sounds like he's actually dealing with a high ankle sprain, which can be a little bit more severe, especially for a running quarterback. So I'm leaning towards Kyler probably not being viable this week, along with his favorite wide receiver target, Deandre Hopkins, nursing that hamstring injury. I think Arizona definitely wants to be cautious with Hopkins. He's an older wide receiver. This is something that could linger throughout the year. I think Cliff Kingsbury wasn't exactly happy when Hopkins went in that Thursday night game when he was obviously dealing with the hamstring injury. I'm sure the team wants to get him right and get him healed up for the long season. So Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, I'm leaning towards not playing this week. Another guy that we knew was ruled out, Alvin Kamara, MCL sprain. I just wanted to note on that because even though he was able to finish that game last week with an MCL sprain, it wouldn't surprise me if he misses another week or two. So just because he was playing, I would think Mark Ingram might have some relevance here the next 2 weeks. So for Alvin Kamara fantasy managers, keep that in mind. He could miss next week as well. Chris Godwin, foot injury, he's active. James Robinson, heel injury, he's active. Zack Moss cleared the concussion protocol. Late this week, so he's going to be active. Damian Harris is out with a concussion.
Adam, real quick, I want to go back to James Robinson. Robinson, he had the heel injury. He missed last week. What is the concern with him this week? Is he going to be on a snap count or anything along those lines? Like, what's the deal with that? Because I'm very curious as to the usage of James Robinson and Carlos Hyde this week.
So I actually don't think it's that serious of an injury. Urban Meyer talked about it, and I think Urban Meyer has kind of been easy to pick on. So he's been the low-hanging fruit this year. He talked about last week it came down to pain management for James Robinson, which I really hate to see from a head coach because you're basically like selling your guy out. Like you're just saying he's not tough enough to play. I think it's a tricky injury. If he's having trouble, putting weight on him, pushing off, that's probably why he sat last week. But structurally speaking, I think he should be good. So I don't think there's any real worry. I think they might use Carlos Hyde a little bit because they like Carlos Hyde in Jacksonville, but I feel confident starting James Robinson this week.
All right. Sounds good to me. What else we got?
Yep. Zack Moss cleared the concussion protocol, so he's good to go. I talked about, Damian Harris out with concussion. Ramondre Stevenson cleared the concussion protocol, so it sounds like he's going to be the starter in New England. Another one that we saw get placed on IR, Julio Jones with that hamstring injury. The only reason I mentioned this, I'm sure people know about it, but the average reoccurrence rate for wide receivers dealing with hamstring injuries usually is around 20%. So they usually 20% of the time they have a re-injury occur. Over his career, Julio Jones averages for hamstring injury has been 75%. Last year, he had 4 separate instances where he had a hamstring injury, came back and played, had it again, missed another game, and did that song and dance for 4 separate instances last year. So I only bring that up because I've gotten a lot of Julio Jones questions on Twitter. What do I do with Julio Jones? It seems kind of crazy, but based on this injury history and him going on IR, if your IR spot's already taken up by somebody and you need someone to play, I know it sounds crazy, but in some leagues, I would drop Julio Jones based on some of that stuff. Chase Claypool, this injury has kind of been underreported. I think he's dealing with a turf toe injury, which actually is pretty serious. Average game missed for wide receivers dealing with that injury is 3 games. So I think this could be a multi-week absence for Chase Claypool, which means wheels up for Deontay Johnson, and James Washington might actually be fantasy relevant in some deeper leagues. CEH, I think, is a long shot to play this week, dealing with that MCL sprain. He had a pretty significant MCL sprain. In theory, with this injury, he should have been back by now. But if anyone that watched that game, I think he had a pretty significant sprain. So I think he's a long shot to go this week, probably looking better next week. Or if the Chiefs just want to go conservative with him, they have a bye, I think, in week 11 or 12. I forgot to look. But he should have a bye coming up soon here. Last 2 here, Antonio Brown. He's obviously ruled out this week. He's dealing with a classic E version sprain, so that's different than like our low ankle sprains. It's just in terms of how the ankle turns out, but I like his chances actually for next week. I know a lot of people have been waiting for an Antonio Brown comeback. And then the last one, we were talking about this guy pre-show, Michael Gallup, coming off that calf injury. It depends on some situations, obviously, but I'm kind of taking the wait and see approach with Michael Gallup. He was on IR for a long time with that calf injury. I want to see if there's a ramp up period for him. So I'm looking elsewhere if I can, but like I said, in deeper leagues, I understand if you need to play Michael Gallup this week.
So as in a ramp up period, you're talking about, having a couple or a limited snap count essentially, right? Like he's not going to go out and see a full count or a full workload right off the bat, correct?
Yeah. And he's in the way CD Lamb's been playing, he's kind of already third in that pecking order. So when you tie those things together and maybe a limited workload, I'm probably trying to steer away from Michael Gallup coming off this injury.
All right. I'll take that. You got any questions for him, Thomas?
Nah, man. I mean, the guy knows his stuff better than I can. I mean, I'm good. I think that's all pretty much what I had read so far today. We're G.
All right, sounds good. Let's go ahead and get these questions up off the ground then.
It's also part of the season where, like, if somebody is healthy, like, chances are you got to put them in anyway. Like, it's at that point. Like, it's good to like readjust your expectations. But like I've got leagues where I'm playing like Ty Johnson as my RB1. It's cold out here on these streets.
Oh man, it absolutely is. So let's go ahead and get these questions up and running. If you're in the Facebook group, Fantasy Football Discussion, big shout out to you guys for joining us this morning. Oh man, let's get these questions rolling. So Eddie in the chat, Eddie Ambrose wants to know in PPR, if J-Rob plays, start him or Darrell Williams over there. It's a little bit of a tough situation because Darrell Williams, has been relevant from week to week. However, Derek Gore has shown that he's, got a little bit of twitch to him. Last week, we saw Darrell Williams pretty much handle the main workload. I feel like at this point, like James Robinson is a guy that I want to get into my lineups. However, up against the Colts, who have a decent defense against the run, it's, it definitely raises some question marks. However, what I'm looking at here is the dose score, the dump off containment efficiency. And the Colts are one of the worst teams in the dose score in the NFL. So if you're sitting there in a situation where you can play James Robinson, you see that pass catching upside up against the Colts, and you see that nasty number of the Colts run defense up against the running backs themselves, you just got to look to the dose score and feel confident in James Robinson. I'm going that route this week.
Yeah, it's the way I play it every week, right? If the game is going to be close and you just need like a flat line, I wouldn't blame you for starting Darrell Williams. But if you need the guy, right, that 15-16, you want to play J-Rob.
I'm going to go James Robinson here. The Colts have a sneaky kind of good offense with Michael Pittman and Jonathan Taylor, the way they've been scoring the ball. I think the Jags probably going to have to score a lot to keep up with them. James Robinson, could see 5 or 6 catches, if not more. So I like James Robinson, especially in PPR.
I'll take it. All right, on to the next question from Terry over there. He asked, should he accept this trade offer? Trade alert. We've got Williams for Zack Moss. He needs a running back. He has Chris Godwin, Adam Thielen, Marquise Brown. So it seems like he's pretty much overall set at wide receiver, although injuries can happen at any point in time. The question is, does Zack Moss see enough volume for you guys to warrant getting rid of Mike Williams, who, he's been on somewhat of a cold streak as of late?
Yeah, I'm keeping Mike Williams. I don't want Zack Moss at all.
Yeah, I think you can do better. I think you can do better for Mike Williams. I know he's cooled off lately, but somebody's going to see those first couple of weeks and get excited. You can do better than Zack Moss, I think.
You can definitely do better than Zack Moss. I think Michael Carter might be a guy that you could actually target here.
I just wouldn't want to trade Mike Williams. He's had a couple of bad weeks, but he had been hurt for the last little while and some weird game scripts and stuff happening over there with the Chargers. I'm not bailing on Mike Williams there. Not for a running back. Not for a running back that could end up not doing anything much the rest of the way.
So what would it take you to trade away Mike Williams? Like, where do you draw the line at the running back position? Are we talking maybe like Miles Sanders? Are we talking Antonio Gibson?
I would look, if you're going to trade away Mike Williams, you might as well trade Mike Williams a little bit on top and then go and get, I'm assuming this is a dynasty question, right?
No, probably not. Probably redraft.
This could be a redraft question. Oh, man. Redraft question, if you're desperate, then sure. But my brain automatically goes to dynasty. So if it's a dynasty question, just don't and just hold. If it's redraft, sure.
It's most likely a redraft.
Sure.
Yeah, obviously it depends on the league, but I think there's some guys that you could probably get for a reasonable price because they haven't like fully broken out yet. Maybe somebody like a Javonte Williams in redraft if somebody's still worried about Melvin Gordon scoring. Maybe Cordell Patterson if he has running back availability in your league. That guy's been on an absolute tear. Maybe you could flip Mike Williams for Cordell Patterson. Somebody in that range. I think would be some guys that would be targeting. Maybe like guy that we just talked about, James Robinson. Those would be some targets I'd be looking at.
Go trade for Melvin Gordon.
It's not a bad one. And I would target Miles Sanders.
A lot of the fantasy brain trusts out there are touting second half, right? Always rookie running back, second half. The schedule is so good, Melvin Gordon's going to be viable unless he gets hurt. That's the guy I'd want to target.
Makes sense. I'll take that. I'll take that one for sure. All right, Eddie asked in the chat, also Devonta Smith or Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow has the Chiefs. I mean, we're talking about, Snead, who hasn't been able to cover the slot very well this season. Renfrow saw how many targets last week? Was it double digits or was it 9? It was up there regardless. I mean, Devontae Smith, he's, solid wide receiver and all. But, man, it's a tough spot with Jalen Hurts. It always is. And then up against, I believe they have, Denver this week? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not a position I want to play Devontae Smith at all. I'm going to lean Hunter Renfrow.
Derek Carr balls out against the Chiefs. Give me Renfrow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Devonta Smith. I know that's going against the grain. I just think he's the better player. I think Hunter Renfrow has been good, and it's definitely been surprising. But Devonta Smith, especially the week that he had last week, I think I'm probably going to go with him.
All right, I'll take it. Let's go ahead and move on to this one. So, Thomas just brought up that Carr balls out against the Chiefs. He always does. But Dak Prescott has the Falcons this week. I mean, I feel like Dak Prescott's almost a smash play over top of Carr where, you might be playing like storyline. You might be playing trends with Carr. I'd rather go with something that I'm relatively, confident is almost guaranteed with Dak Prescott. I think he gives you 3 or 4 touchdowns this game.
Yeah, play the stud, right? Like you get too cute with matchups sometimes. Play the stud guy. I know Dak's been like a little banged up and the offense has been a little weird, but play the stud.
Agree.
He's got everyone in the lineup, right? Like offensive weapons wise for Dak. It's still Atlanta.
Agreed. 100%. All right, Benjamin asks, what do y'all think? Deontay Johnson with the backup quarterback or OBJ on a new team? Also has Noah Fant or Dawson Knox. This is standard scoring, not PPR, so keep that in mind, especially with the Deontay Johnson thing. What's the update with OBJ? I saw him something about returning kicks. Like, what is he going to be running 9 routes the whole day and having Van Jefferson try and run a slightly more complicated route tree because he knows the system? And OBJ is just going to be running 9s and returning punts and kicks. Like, what's the deal over here with OBJ? What do we think is going to be the upside? And then we'll talk about Deontay Johnson after that.
I want the touchdown from Odell because I think it'll be honestly, you can just Odell's healthy. It's not like he only needs a couple of days to be like, we're going to script you 10 plays, 12 plays, a few in the goal line, standard scoring. Deontay, I'm out. But if Odell scores, you're more than happy. So that's what I want. Matthew Stafford can tell him in the huddle, do this, and they'll make it work. So I'm playing Odell there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Deontay. I think Deontay can see 15 targets in this game, and I know it's not PPR. I think Odell is going to have. They said they had a certain number of snaps. They were going to try to run him out there. I hate that I've turned into this guy, but I think I'm a Van Jefferson guy, and I think people are sleeping on Van Jefferson. He ran the same number of routes as Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp. He only has 11 fewer air yards than Cooper Kupp. They like Van Jefferson.
They like him so much. He's the wide receiver 41. He's not. He even with his targets, his air yards, he's not. I don't know.
Yeah,
they went and got Odell for a reason, in my opinion, even pre-Woods.
Yeah. I haven't seen enough from Odell this year to be confident, and I know we can go debate, the Baker Mayfield thing and whatnot. I still like, especially this week, without Odell having a full week of practice. I like Van Jefferson over Odell, and regarding the tight ends, I'm probably going to go with Noah Fant, the better player, over Dawson Knox.
Man. It's tough because the Rams do have San Francisco. San Francisco's secondary is, somewhat beat up to an extent. But I mean, I think I have to go with Deontay Johnson because there's nobody healthy over there for the Steelers outside of Najee Harris. Now, Najee Harris is probably going to have 25 carries this week, right? But
50 touches. It's going to be gross.
He's going to have an insanely heavy volume, week up against the Lions. But I think that even if Mason Rudolph passes, let's just say 25 times this game, which I don't even know if he passes 20. Let's just say 20 times. Deontay Johnson could probably see 10 to 11 of those targets, like a 50% target share, in this matchup. I think I'm going to lean Deontay Johnson, but I don't feel confident in either one to say, oh, you definitely got to roll out this guy, or you definitely got to roll out this guy. As for Dawson Knox or Noah Fant in this matchup, I'm going to be playing Noah Fant up against the porous Philadelphia Eagles secondary up against tight ends. I think that's a lock play, especially with Dawson Knox coming off an injury. All right.
Yeah.
Happy NFL Sunday, Husker. What's going on, baby? How you doing?
My boy.
All right. Pick 3. Nick asked in the chat. McCaffrey, Connor, Henderson, Fournette, Michael Carter. I think Fournette here is Fournette and McCaffrey are my top 2. Like, those are undoubtedly going to be there. Now, Thomas and I were actually talking this morning in our group chat, and he was asking about Michael Carter and the dose score, the dump-off containment efficiency score.
Which everyone should be following.
Yeah, fantasyintervention.com/DOCE. It tells you when you can play pass-catching running backs. So Michael Carter has the Bills this week, and the Bills have actually been extremely, extremely vicious up against running backs thus far in the season. There's only been 2 teams, the Chiefs and the Chiefs and the Dolphins, who have had over 4 targets to the running back up against the Bills thus far in the season. So I went back and I did a quick overview of this. I didn't do a deep dive, but I did a quick overview because I was very, very busy this week. And it turns out that the running backs have to block about a 20% increase in snaps or in pass down snaps because the Bills bring so much pressure. They have to keep the running backs in, or else, their guys are going to take hits. So essentially, if Michael Carter is in the game, I still think that he's going to be a solid play. But the type of upside that we've seen from him, where he has 10 receptions, I don't think is going to happen. Will he have 4 or 5 receptions? Yeah, that seems a lot more likely. But to see 10 out of him, even with Mike White at quarterback, I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, the Bills have just been very, very good up against pass-catching running backs. So Michael Carter for me is okay. As for James Conner, I'm not playing him this week. I'm avoiding it. We talk about a completely just annihilated Arizona offense with one of the best run defenses, one of the best defenses up against the running back itself over there for Carolina. I feel like they're going to shut him down. I like James Conner. I think he's a good running back. I've picked him the past 2 episodes, the past 2 shows that we've done for the Start or Sit show. I've said to start him each week, and he's proved me right each week. This week, I'm fading James Conner. So
you're doing it this time, not
I'm
me.
doing it this time. I'm telling you guys, I've said to start him no matter what. The past 2 episodes, he was a big time start for me, and I nailed it this week. I am benching him. As for Henderson, I think that he's going to see the volume. I think that they're going to see some open lanes for him to run through. So I'm going to pick Henderson as my 3rd in this one, but for sure, Fournette and McCaffrey are my 2 locks.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, Tampa Bay is they're hurting at wide receiver. This game's probably going to be over early. Give me Fournette. Henderson doesn't change with the wide receiver shuffling. I think he's a locked and loaded RB1 rest of the way. So I'm playing McCaffrey, Henderson, Fournette pretty easily.
Those would be my 3.
All right, let's go. All right. Happy Sunday, fellas. What's going on, Bryce? Hurts quarterback, PPR, need 1. Terrell Williams, Judy, or Devonta Smith. Honestly, I'm avoiding Hurts this week. We talk about the running quarterbacks up against Denver, and Denver's actually shut down the rushing quarterbacks thus far in the season. So I'm actually benching Hurts in a lot of cases. But even with Hurts, I still don't want to play Devonta Smith. I'm out on Devonta Smith this week. So for these 2, it's between Judy and Terrell Williams. I'm going to take Judy in the slot because Darius Slay doesn't travel to the slot. Darius Slay will most likely be on Cortland Sutton, but he could see some Tim Patrick as well. I think Jerry Jeudy is going to lead the team in targets and receptions this week. We'll see if he can get in the end zone. I'm predicting like a 7 for 80 type week with a possible touchdown in there.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, I do the same thing.
Yep. I like Jerry Jeudy. He's been playing well.
Yep. Coming back from that injury, looking good. Looking real good. All right. We've got Superflex.
Sutton more, please.
Tight end premium. Colt McCoy or Ricky Seals-Jones in the Superflex spot. All right. Hey, Adam, real quick.
I love that question. I love it.
So what's going on with Logan Thomas? I don't think we talked about him very much. So can we get a brief
He's got a hamstring injury. And they can linger. So I think, as long as he's out. I mean, Ricky Seals-Jones has been playing really well in that tight end spot, and Washington has been confident using him. So I think Logan Thomas eventually does come back, but it wouldn't surprise me if he's even out for another couple weeks.
Okay, so he is not active this week. I did not realize that.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I thought he was in. I'm glad you told me that. I got to go fix one of my lineups as soon as the show ends. All right.
Classic.
That's a good one. I missed that. All right. So we have, Colt McCoy. Ugh, God, that's so gross. Go ahead, Thomas. You give us your take first.
You know what? I salute you for not paying the price of the quarterback super flex, high price, just grossness. I mean, you're kind of boned either way. So just, I don't know. I have no answer for you. Like Ricky Seals-Jones could outscore Colt McCoy. Like I don't know. I don't have an answer for you confidently, but I mean, if I'm in your spot, I'm playing Ricky Seals because I'd rather do that than have 5 points from a quarterback potentially. I don't know. That's brutal.
See, I'm a little bit nervous about Colt McCoy's situation, right? Like DeAndre Hopkins doesn't play, Rondale Moore doesn't play. Then we're talking about no weapons for this offense, and we're probably going to talk about no offense. This might be the lowest scoring game on the slate when it comes to Carolina and Arizona with PJ Walker over there at quarterback. So I'm going to go with what I know that I have in Ricky Seals-Jones. Now, if you're somebody that believes that Hopkins and Rondale Moore can play, then I'd go Colt McCoy. But I'm going to go Ricky Seals-Jones in the super flex spot on this one.
I think Rondale Moore is going to play. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is going to play. I think I'm going to go with the quarterback. Christian Kirk's been pretty good. We talked about, James Conner maybe having some tough sledding going against that Carolina defense. So if the Arizona is going to want to move the ball, they're probably going to have to do it through the air. I like Colt McCoy's floor a little bit more than I like for Ricky Seals-Jones. I think Ricky Seals-Jones obviously has the higher ceiling, especially if he scores a touchdown. But I think Colt McCoy might give you a little more consistent fantasy production.
I'll take that. All right. Second question, PPR, Jordan Howard or Javonte Williams this week? Oh, man, killing me with some of these gross questions, y'all.
It's Javonte for me. He has the same chance of doing what Jordan Howard will do, but it's more likely.
Yeah, he's going to get more yards than Jordan Howard likely too.
It feels so disgusting to say.
That feels gross.
I think I'm going to go with Javonte.
All right. So let's go ahead and take this question from Jose. Beasley, Renfro, or Beckham for my full flex PPR. I already talked about Renfro. I think he's going to smash this week. I don't really think there's going to be too much competition for him, in terms of starter sit questions that are going to be relevant, until you start bringing in wide receiver twos into the question. That's pretty much where I view Hunter Renfro this week. I don't see Beckham as wide receiver 2, and Beasley's more of a wide receiver 3 for me, if not wide receiver 4 in this matchup against the Jets. I'm going to take Renfro.
Yeah. I'm going to take Renfro.
I'm leaning Beasley. The only thing that makes me nervous about Beasley is with Dawson Knox. Beasley has been since that Dawson Knox injury, Beasley's been wide receiver 22 in PPR leagues. His target share the last 3 weeks, 9, 13, and 11.
Yeah, it's been up there.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as Josh Allen's been recently, Cole Beasley's still getting the ball. I think it's a toss-up between Beasley and Renfro. I'm probably leaning Beasley just a little bit because I like the offense.
All right, I'll take that. By the way, Renfro has 14 receptions, a touchdown, and 107 yards over the past 2 weeks since everything went down. So we have Standard League, Amari Cooper, J-Rob, or Mark Ingram this week. Mark Ingram, obviously with Alvin Kamara out, is a hot topic right now up against Tennessee. Amari Cooper is dealing with some injuries that scare me away a little bit. Meanwhile, J-Rob, we talked about, how much we like him in a offense where he could see a ton of targets. up against the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, man. I'm going to go J-Rob on this. Mark Ingram as my second and Amari Cooper as my third. But yeah, J-Rob for me is a firm number one.
Play Mark Ingram.
Okay.
It's New Orleans Saints.
I can get
when Kamara is out, the backups have averaged somewhere between 26 and 28 points per game in his absence, going all the way back to 2019 when Latavius Murray was a damn near league winner in replacement for Kamara. Play Ingram and just trust the process. Standard, easy money.
Yeah. I think if you got Mark Ingram this week, you got to figure out a way to get him in your lineup.
Yeah, up against Tennessee. I mean, we've seen him get torched by, multiple different running backs throughout the season. I like the passing game for this one. I think that Trevor Siemian's a start this week, believe it or not, with Traquan Smith being my sneaky guy of the week. But I can understand how you'd want to go Mark Ingram for sure. I think he's going to see at least 15 or so touches, maybe more. All right, Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers in this matchup. Okay, this is a close one for me, or it kind of was a close one for me at first. But the more that I look at the Los Angeles Chargers, I mean, the more that I hate the matchup. And I know that you have two stud wide receivers over there who can actually beat this matchup. Meanwhile, you have Tyler Conklin, who could see 5 or 6 targets minimum this week. But I don't understand how you can't go with Aaron Rodgers, even with their slow pace of play, up against Seattle.
But it snowed. He can't possibly play well in the snow.
Get out of here.
Play your stud. Play Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. All right, I was trying to make that a little more entertaining. But yeah, it's Aaron Rodgers. I was trying to create some sort of argument or get some sort of rise. It's Aaron Rodgers.
People need answers.
All right, play one. Mark Ingram, Michael Carter, or Deontay Johnson. Full PPR.
I'm still playing Ingram.
I know I said start Ingram anyway, but I really like Deontay Johnson this week, even with Mason Rudolph. That one's tough.
Like Ingram can pull in 5 or 6 receptions on his own. Deontay Johnson could have a stat line of 8 catches for 45 yards. I don't know what's gonna happen there. I just want the running back. I would just rather have the running back. That's just my philosophy. But Carter, if Chase gives it the okay, could outbeat all of us. Could be interesting. What says you, Sir Doscore?
No, I'm off on Carter. I follow the dose score, pretty religiously when it comes to this. Now, Michael Carter, like I said, I think Jets are going to be down, and I think it's going to force them to pass. But once again, we're not going to see the targets earlier in the game that Michael Carter sees, so that's going to limit his upside. I'm going to go Mark Ingram on this one.
Okay, I guess it's tough
you
between.
Deontay Johnson. We could be.
It's a toss up. I'll make it easy for Jose here, and we'll just go Mark Ingram consensus.
All right.
I'm gonna regret it because
Deontay Johnson's gonna go.
I'll for
150 and 2 touchdowns.
I'll forever be under consensus on Deontay, for my entire life until he does something that isn't wide receiver 25. Prescott or Hurts? What do you think?
It's not even close for me. It's Prescott.
Yeah, me either. It's Prescott.
I'm avoiding Hurts this week.
Although the funny thing is, you usually say Hurts is a garbage time king, but Dak is the OG garbage time king. So I'm playing Dak.
All right, what's your thoughts on the Raiders versus Chiefs matchup? The Raiders have a lot of stuff going on right now, and the organization is still held strong throughout it, but the crack's going to start to show eventually. And I think that it starts this week where they lose a close but emotional game. I think Kansas City takes this one and beats them by a touchdown in the fourth quarter. It's something as to where we're going to see fantasy points on both sides. I don't think it's going to be crazy high scoring. I don't think it's going to be 35 to 42 or anything like that. But I still think that they're probably going to beat their over total, put up right around probably 55 points is going to be my guess. And we're going to see production out of Tyreek Hill. We're going to see production out of the studs pretty much. They're going to try and get Mecole Hardman involved. I don't see much coming out of that.
I hope not.
But you're going to see the studs go off. Josh Jacobs is going to have his week. Hunter Renfrow is going to have his week. We might see something out of Bryan Edwards. We got to wait and see. But I'm thinking Bryan Edwards could actually have a few catches this week and most likely a touchdown. All right.
Bryan Edwards is not a thing. It's not a thing.
He will be.
Bryan Edwards is right around where Colin Johnson is.
Get out of here.
He's dust.
He's
I've never seen a wide receiver catch 4 passes in off coverage prevent defense that makes Twitter and fantasy players lose their mind. He makes a routine 2-handed catch in the end zone with no one near him. Randy Moss.
Chris Carter. That's a Chris Carter comment.
Get him out of there.
All right, we got a second question: Jordan Howard or Alex Collins? This one's a little tougher. What's the update on Chris Carson?
Yeah, I don't think he's playing. Let me double check that. But
last I saw, he wasn't playing in this game. They're looking at next week for him, as far as I know, because it's against Arizona.
Won't play. He's officially out.
I'd roll Collins for sure.
Yeah, especially with Russell Wilson coming back, that offense might be a little bit more, exciting.
And the snow, God,
that too, and the snow,
and the snow. All right, we have Wilson or Hurts this week. I'm going with Wilson. Anytime that you put up a Jalen Hurts question, I'm pretty much going to say the other guy for probably about 80% of the matchups. I'm so far off Hurts this week. It's not even funny.
Denver's not a bad defense, so yeah, I'm gonna play Wilson. Like, the rushing is always dope, but I think it's easy money for Wilson.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Wilson. I'm a little bit nervous because of the snow. I know we're talking a lot about the snow. Just because of that finger issue, I worry about gripping. In a first game back, I think that's going to be a tricky game for Russell Wilson, but I think he's the better player.
All right, I got a question for you guys. All right, I'm going to name a few quarterbacks, and y'all tell me yes or no whether you think they have rushing upside in their range of outcomes. All right, we have Taylor Heineke. Does he have a rushing upside in his range of outcomes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Lamar Jackson.
At the same time. Yes.
Thomas, I know you're saying yes. All right.
Why ask?
Trevor Lawrence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Daniel Jones.
Sure. Yeah. Remember, he was Lamar Jackson 1.0.
Okay. None of these quarterbacks eclipse 30 yards on the ground up against Denver. They haven't had a single one this entire year. There is no rushing upside for Jalen Hurts this week. They have completely dominated rushing quarterbacks. They've dominated them. It hasn't even been close. Taylor Heineke had 10 yards. Trevor Lawrence had like 21. Daniel Jones had 27. Lamar Jackson had 28. I mean, you're getting 3 points at most out of your rushing quarterbacks, and they played some pretty good ones thus far in the season. There is no rushing upside for Hurts this week.
If you set the over-under at 30, though, I would take the over for Hurts.
100%.
For rushing yards.
100%.
We'll see.
It takes one. Want to bet on it? Do you want a hot sauce bet 30 rushing yards?
No, I'm not ready to do that. But
all right, he's not that confident, folks.
No, I want to find a better one than that one. Come on. All right, we have Russell Wilson versus Green Bay or Carson Wentz versus Jacksonville.
Oh, give me Wentz.
Wilson really ready? Adam, let's go to you. Is Wilson really ready to play this week? Is he gonna be able to grip the ball and be able to chuck it all over the field like we're hoping?
I think he is, and he's an accurate quarterback, but I can't believe, like, we were joking about the snow, but I am a little bit worried, like, in this first game back, if it's cold, if he's having difficulties gripping the ball on top of that injury. God. Oh, man. I'll probably go Wentz just because I know what I'm getting, but I can't believe I'm picking him over Russell Wilson.
Hey, one dump off to either Hines or Taylor, and you're super happy with Carson Wentz. A little bomb there to Pittman, TY division is back for this game. So yeah, give me Wentz, man. I think he's underrated right now. So he's might be the most underrated quarterback in fantasy right now. It's Carson Wentz. Shout out Jacob Sanderson.
Yeah, I'm going Wentz in this one. We could see him get close to the goal line and just run it in, 10 times in a row.
He might just hand it off to a defender at some point. We've seen that too, but who knows?
All right, let's go ahead. And Bryce in the chat says, you guys really got me thinking about Philly and Hurts. So PPR, pick 2, including flex. Knox, Schultz, Devontae Smith. Thanks for all the help. Of course, Bryce. Anytime, buddy.
Pick 2, including flex, Knox, Schultz, and Devontae. I'm still playing Devonta Smith there.
Yeah, you can't play Dawson Knox over Devonta Smith. I don't think you can do that.
Then I'm probably just playing Knox over Schultz.
I'm fine with that.
Although, like, I saw a picture of Knox's hand, and it still looks like a balloon. So, I don't know. I'm going to play Knox for a touchdown.
I'm going to stick with my guns here. I'm going Knox and Schultz over Devonta Smith.
Okay. You really hate Jalen Hurts.
I don't like it this week. It's not a good situation.
Oh, that's the bet. I'm sorry, but you're getting hot sauce betted on that. You're that confident.
I'm talking about all over. Like, I'm also not confident in his passing work.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Well, hot sauce bet. Do you want to go hot sauce best Wentz over Hurts?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Wentz over Hurts. I'm down.
Okay, I'll take Hurts.
Ooh.
Okay.
Fantasy points overall, I'll take Hurts.
All right, so we have pick 1, Javonte Williams or Damian Williams. Full PPR up against the Raiders, who are decent, up against pass catcher running backs, not great, not terrible. I think I'm going to go with the guy who I know is going to be on the field and see looks in D. Williams and Darrell Williams. I like Javonte Williams, I really do, but I think that you're getting too cute, like by playing a running back in a shared backfield up against a good run defense, or a guy who's going to be seen probably close to 75% of the snaps. I'm going with Williams, Darrell Williams, that is.
Yeah, I'm playing Williams probably. Well, D. Williams over J. Williams. I realized what I said there after.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So, let's see. I have a bunch of comments from people talking in the chat. All right, this one. All right, DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Emmanuel Sanders, Devonta Smith, Elijah Moore, Devin Singletary, Kenyon Drake. Need 2 wide receivers, 1 flex.
Easy.
Elijah Moore is definitely out for sure,
yes.
Right? Like, let's go ahead and scratch him off. Devin Singletary's off because Zack Moss is playing. I don't really want to play Kenyon Drake. Is he off for you guys?
I do. I want to play Kenyon Drake for
All
sure.
right, so we'll leave him
this
in.
guy.
And I'm gonna scratch Emmanuel Sanders for me. Does anybody want to play Emmanuel Sanders?
No.
Okay, so we're left with DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Devonta Smith, because I know you guys like him, Kenyon Drake. At this point, I'm going DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, and I guess I'll actually go Kenyon Drake over Devonta Smith.
That's exactly where I wanted to go.
I'm going to take those 3 wide receivers. I'm going against consensus here with Devonta Smith.
21 points, 17 points, and 16 points for Drake since he who shan't be named has been ousted from the building. The guy is being used. And in this game, he had 8 targets, 6 receptions for 70 yards against the Giants. If the Chiefs figure out cover 2 shell somehow, it's target city for Drake. I'll take that. I would say that there's a better chance that Drake has more receptions than Smith this week.
I'll take that. And roll with it 100%. DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Kenyon Drake for me, and me and Thomas. Meanwhile, we have Adam going with DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, and Devonta Smith. 3
But
Ds.
I swear, PJ Walker, if you don't force feed DJ Moore, I will not send you anything, but I will think about typing out an email in all red. Never at players, people.
All right, we have 1 question left, so if y'all have any more questions, get them in the chat before we call this a show and get out of here to go take care of our own rosters. So if you guys have any more questions, squeeze them in. If not, this one from David will be our last. Do you think Newton will cut into CMC's rushing yards this week?
Well, no, because Cam's not playing.
Or I should say, period, the end. Sorry, not this week.
Oh, well, of course he will. Like, if Cam does run, like, that's even what he was doing last year. He's probably going to eat a couple of touchdowns, too. But it's not it's not concerning, right? If McCaffrey's McCaffrey, he's done. Like, that's it. He's G. Don't stress.
That's what I was going to say is I think he probably does a little bit, but it doesn't matter because we just want Christian McCaffrey to get targets mostly. And I think Cam Newton has demonstrated that he can do that. He can get McCaffrey the ball. So if he takes away 30 rushing yards a game but gets him 4 or 5 more targets, I think it's a wash. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm actually more worried about Newton taking away touchdowns than rushing yards. Like, I think that he could end up making CMC slightly even more efficient by offering the RPO, which will question the middle linebacker, the safety covering over the top, to go the route of Newton over CMC. So I like the efficiency that CMC could see by seeing one less defender or 2 less defenders, in his running lanes. So I like the fact that CMC actually has a rushing quarterback in Newton. What I'm concerned about is the goal line touches. And who posted? Was it Sal Lito? I think Sal Lito posted something about like who ends up with the most touchdowns at the end of the season, most rushing touchdowns at the end of the season. We have Sam Darnold, who had 5. We had CMC, who has 1. We have Chuba Hubbard, who I believe has 3. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm going through all the options and I'm like, dude, like all these guys could actually end up with 5 by the end of the season, including Cam Newton. I mean, Sam Darnold's most likely not going to see anymore. CMC's not a big rushing touchdown guy. He's more of a receiving touchdown guy, but do I think he can get 4 touchdowns? Yeah. Meanwhile, if they get down on the goal line and CMC ends up getting them down there playing 13 or 14 snaps, they could give the goal line touch to Chuba Hubbard twice, or Chuba Hubbard could have a breakaway run that could result in 2 more touchdowns, leaving with 5, and Cam Newton could easily rush for 5 touchdowns. So I'm sitting there thinking that all 5, wouldn't it be crazy if all 5 players ended up with 5 touchdowns by the end of the season? 5 rushing touchdowns.
It'll be interesting for sure. Like the rest of the way, that line has just been bad. Like that's one thing Cam can't fix, and that's one thing. And receivers not catching the ball, so like they have one of the highest drop rates, and their line is bad. Like that whole team is just going to be an absolute wild show the rest of the year.
Yes, it is. All right, we got one more. We have one more in the chat, and then we're out of here. Howard, AP, or Bolden in PPR.
Oh my god!
I am benching AP like 100%. We saw Foreman be a little bit more efficient last week, which I'm not concerned that much about. But up against the Saints, you can't play running backs up against the Saints that don't catch the ball. Even ones that do, it makes me nervous. So I'm benching AP 100%. Meanwhile, Brandon Bolden has a decent matchup up against the Browns. Should be the pass catcher, the third down back over there. And then Jordan Howard has a pretty tough matchup over there up against Denver. Ooh, I don't like this. This one's gross, man. This one's gross.
I'm going to go with Howard because I think there's a scenario where he just falls into the end zone one time. They like using him in the red zone if the Eagles can get there. I agree. I mean, maybe AP – I think what AP has been able to do playing has been incredible. I know he scored the touchdown last week, but he looked like the worst running back in terms of McNichols, Foreman, and then AP. He looked by far the worst to me. And then with Stevenson playing, I don't really like Bolden's usage, even though it's a PPR league. And like you said, he could get some passing down work. But I think the best one the best chance to score a touchdown is Jordan Howard. So I'm going to pick him.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. PPR, though, Bolden can catch the ball. So disgusting. I'll just be different and say Bolden. If he catches 3 passes, he's already better than Howard.
Oh, God, I hate this. All right, I'm going Jordan Howard. Yeah, I'm going Jordan Howard. Or McNichols. They throw this in the chat. McNichols. That's a little bit sexier for me. I might go McNichols over those guys. It's close. I'll take McNichols over AP, but I think I'm still going to go with Howard in this one.
I agree.
It's close. So, guys, make sure you go check out fantasyintervention.com/dose. Once again, that's fantasyintervention.com/DOCE. It's dump off containment efficiency. If you guys have questions like this in the chat where it's like, Howard AP or a pass catcher, you can actually go to fantasyintervention.com/dose. And it might give you a little bit of a lean factor to where like you can lean going with Bolden if that defense is bad enough up against pass catchers. Like if they were playing, let's just say Arizona this week or Atlanta this week, I would go with Bolden in a heartbeat. But since they're going up against Cleveland, who's still bad up against pass catchers, they're not great, but they're also not like horrendous. It didn't give me enough of a tilt to go towards Bolden in this one. So go check it out, fantasyintervention.com/DOCE. Adam, you want to let everybody know where to find you?
Yep. You guys can find me on Twitter at @therealadam_H or at 4for4.com. Drop a weekly injury article to help you prepare for your waiver wire. It'll drop before noon on Monday tomorrow after the injury slate happens today. So that's where people can find my thoughts and opinions on that.
All right, Thomas, where can we find you?
Oh, man, all over the place. Tuesdays and Fridays, the Full Tilt Dynasty podcast live. We're going to be releasing the first edition of the Midweek Tilt Thursday morning. Coming from there, you can catch me here mostly every Sunday morning with Chase and Adam here. And you can find me later today chasing points with Chase Vernon and Jordan Santos, man. Starting to get all over the place. And also, everyone, go check out Trophy Smack. Do it now. Find my work there too.
TrophySmack.com. Once again, that's TrophySmack.com. If you guys go purchase a trophy or a belt, one of those championship belts here, I have one right here. These things are heavy as shit. They're solid, right? They're title belts. If you guys go purchase one of these at TrophySmack.com or Trophy, you enter in promo code CIRCLE, then they'll actually give you a free championship ring. Yeah, Thomas, you got one? Is that what you're holding right there? A championship ring?
You know it.
They'll give you a championship ring for free, valued at $60. So go check it out, TrophySmack.com. Use promo code CIRCLE, purchase a trophy or belt. Make sure the ring's in the cart with it. And,
yeah, it has to be.
Yep, and then the ring will be free, valued at $60. And you guys can go find all of our content over there at fantasyintervention.com, on Twitter at FF_intervention, and on Twitter at joinourcircle_. Big shout out to Fantasy Football Discussion. Thank you guys for coming in, and thank you all for letting us intervene with your fantasy football